Hi, I'm Cody from Wall Street Breakdown. I'd like to introduce you to what is going to be the easiest earnings call that you've ever listened to. This is simplicity at its finest. This isn't because it's a company that only does one thing or that doesn't do a lot in the business realm. They're not deep entrenched in it. No, this is highfalutin technology we're talking about here. We're talking the most robust and refined, reformed type of companies right from the heart of Silicon Valley. But the earnings call, it doesn't get much easier than calling earnings like this. I'm going to adjust my glasses. Earnings per share for the company that we're not going to name. We don't probably need to name. Here on Tuesday, August 1st, you know who's delivering earnings this afternoon. If you don't, it's not orange or pear or cran raspberry. It's apple. It's apple. This is an easy one. Earnings per share came in at $1.67. That beat the street by 10 cents. Revenues of 45, these guys sell phones, $45 billion beat the street by 510 million. It's Apple. I don't own an Apple phone. I'm just saying, just like entertainment, research, opinion, that's all this is. This is still, I don't own an Apple phone, just for disclosure purposes. You're looking at this on a Samsung Galaxy S7, which treats me just fine. I've had Apple before. Far too proprietary for me, but carrying on. Revenues of $45 billion, slanging phones and some other stuff, tablets. Good for you. Good. You're doing a good job, Tim Cook. You took over. 510 million, they beat the street by. That's up 7.2%, that revenue. Year over year, Apple is still going up. Year over year in revenues, that's not even the half of it. Do you want to hear about the growth? This is where it gets to be the easy earning call. Revenues grew in the iPhone department by 3%. 3% doesn't seem like much, but you've got to remember there's an iPhone 8 that's only like a month and a little bit away. That phone there probably stifles sales. You probably have a lot of people just saying, like, I'm not going to get a 7. I'm going to hold off. I'm going to get this 8. I'm one of those guys. I mean, when it's time to get new, I get the good stuff. But if I got this right when it was new, I would get that right when it was new, obviously. Obviously, if I was an Apple guy, why wouldn't you? iPad sales up 2%. Now, iPad sales also grew 15% in revenue. So some of the cheaper ones, obviously the ones selling because the growth rate isn't as much as the revenue growth. But they also said that 50% of those new sales, of the 15% growth in sales of iPads, 50% of those is to new users, people that weren't using iPads before. So that's people, they're still going to Apple. They're still, I don't know who they're leaving. They're leaving somebody. They're going to Apple. That doesn't happen in telecom. You see the small guy gain market share and the big guy seems to struggle. Here, this big guy is the big guy. Anyways, revenues for Mac up 7%, services 22%, and other products, which I imagine are like sweet, like belt holsters or, quick draw phone stuff. You pull it out like your Han Solo. Other products up 23%. Their growth rate is still growing. This I don't understand. Now, in America, in the Americas, that's how we'll define, I guess, North America, the Americas, 13%. In Japan, only 3%. 3% over there. That's a number that kind of surprises me. I'm not entirely sure who the belle of the ball is over in Japan. If it's not already Apple, maybe just by a long shot. But in Asia Pacific, they grew 15%. So I don't know what's going on in Japan. In Europe, they're up 11%. They're gaining market share everywhere except in China. China kind of has a Chinese company that makes cell phones, though, right? I'm almost positive there's a Chinese manufacturer of cell phones that is the leader in China. I want to say that's right. Don't quote me on that. Research, do your research. Don't listen to me. I'm a half crazy person, obviously. Who even knows if Apple reported earnings today? I might have just pulled this out of the Apple in my fridge. They got 185 million subscribers, paid subscribers, for the Apple Music and iCloud services combined. That's up 20 million this quarter. That's really good. I mean, what else is there? What else is Apple? Oh yeah, Apple's got the iPhone 8 coming out, which is gonna beat down the doors with sales. They also have the HomePod coming out around Christmas that's gonna control your whole house. I imagine they also have some nanobots that are gonna go inside your cells, and that's coming out probably in 2018, where you become a part of the Apple. It's Skynet. I mean, it's ultimately Skynet at the end of this. I wonder what Tim Cook has for cash. If Apple just, let's say they wanted to get involved in something. Let's say Apple thought, they got a really rockin' lasagna recipe, and do they have any cash on hand? $260 billion in cash. Easiest earnings call ever.